when it's that dynamic, you are constantly trying to get back to the praise. So you'll just get used to the punishment, because on the other side of it, there's the praise again, and you'll stay and you'll stay and you'll stay trying to get that affirmation back, trying to get the love back, trying to get the praise back. And it is an endless loop and cycle of this.
Hey, welcome to the Dating Detox Show, where we do our best to help you talk about the stuff that other people aren't talking about and help you date in a healthy way. I'm Eric Wooten, and with me, as always, is Megan Toma. How you doing, Megan?
I'm good. As I told you, I'm in Louisiana right now, and it's hot down here, but otherwise I'm doing great.
Well, you have nobody but yourself to blame for going to Louisiana, so that's what you get.
That's correct.
Get back to Colorado, where the air is thin and cool, and
Very
you'll
soon.
be all right. Awesome. Well, if you have not already downloaded our Modern Daters Playbook, grab that. It's in the description area of the show notes. And today, here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about 10 signs of emotional manipulation in relationship. Now, I think some of these are obvious. So, well, here's the deal. Sometimes we kind of know we're being manipulated, but we like enough of the other stuff in the relationship that I think we're willing to overlook it. And then other times, I think we don't really know. Some of us have been in enough unhealthy relationships. We're like, that's normal. Yeah, that just kind of happens. So I think it would be good to highlight some of those. What do you think?
I completely agree, because I was that person. And sometimes I didn't know. I didn't know if it was normal or not, or if this is just how relationships worked. So yes, this is going to be very good.
Yeah. All right. So here's what I'll do. I'm gonna throw them out, and then I want to hear your thoughts on them. So some of them again I think are kind of obvious, but number one is the silent treatment. So this is. I want to say this can be a little nuanced. Like, there's some people that need time to process their emotions. And so they may need to kind of pull away, so to speak. That's not really what I'm talking about, because hopefully those people, if they're healthy, will say, I need some time to process, and then can we come back and talk about this tomorrow? What I'm talking about is the people who just decide to kind of stonewall and withdraw as a way to demonstrate their protest of whatever has happened.
Yes, this is a big one. And I learned how important it is to have those kinds of conversations, typically when, things have healed a bit after an argument, to have the kinds of conversations where you say, hey, I'm someone, when things get really heated or the tensions are high, emotions are high, I need to step away for a minute. I'm coming back. Give me like an hour, give me 20 minutes, whatever it is. But when someone deliberately ignores someone, I even have an agreement with myself and, people that I've dated that, when I see a text, if I'm not busy, I'm going to respond to you. I just don't leave things lingering, which is a little bit separate now. But yes, silent treatment is extremely manipulative, even though, the person might think that they have every right to not say anything because they're mad. And well, I don't want to say anything right now if I'm mad. But what I find is that a lot of people use that to hurt the other person. They've been hurt, so they give the silent treatment to hurt back, which is never healthy. Yeah.
No, and if you see it in the dating process, I can assure you, having worked with many married couples, that this does not get better as you slide into marriage, because sometimes people may assume, since we're not living together and we're dating, and they kind of go silent on me, well, that's probably because we're not together. And if we were in the same house, certainly they wouldn't do that. But I talk to couples every week who that's their pattern. They get in a fight and they don't talk to each other for 2 to 3 days. And you want to talk about awkward, tense, and cold, is an environment where you have to pass each other, sometimes interact with each other for the kids, but then absolutely no conversation outside of that. So yeah, that's not a win, dating or married. All right, here's the second one. This is the two-parter. I would just call it praise and punishment, for lack of a better term. There may be a more technical term, but this is a person who Yeah, and again, this is not always just in dating. I've known some bosses who have done this, but it's like you're the golden child for a season and it's all great and it's over the top praise and all that kind of stuff. And then when it doesn't go well, or you don't take their advice, or you don't agree with them, now they're going to punish you in some way. So it's always this like push pull of like praise, punishment. And yeah, that's not a fun roller coaster to be stuck on.
And this is so common. We talk about toxic relationships quite a bit on here, but this is really common in those toxic dynamics, because when it's that dynamic, you are constantly trying to get back to the praise. So you'll just get used to the punishment, because on the other side of it, there's the praise again, and you'll stay and you'll stay and you'll stay trying to get that affirmation back, trying to get the love back, trying to get the praise back. And it is an endless loop and cycle of disappointment, because there's always punishment on the other side. It's nonstop. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough because if the praise side is great enough,
Yeah.
sometimes you're willing to endure the punishment, knowing at some point we can get back to the praise, and the praise feels so good that I'm willing to deal with this unhealthy punishment side just because I want to get back to that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Fun stuff.
That's not a fun
It really
cycle
isn't.
at all. So, all right, here's another one. This is sort of like the silent treatment, but a little different. So this could be two-parter. Either they withhold emotional connection, or they will overwhelm with love to lower your guard or make you feel indebted to them. So it's this, they'll either overwhelm you so you owe them, or they'll withhold their emotional connection just to let you know, I'm not pleased about this.
Yeah, it is very similar to the silent treatment. I've been on the receiving end of that, and I've been the giver in that, of like, let me just flood you with all the love so that you'll want to give it back. They'll reciprocate, right? And that normally pushes that person even further away. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. And I've definitely had people withhold emotion. And it's tricky, right? And that's one where I would say, I don't know if the person is always aware that they're doing that. That can be a really good strategy to keep them safe. Maybe they're feeling overwhelmed with a disagreement or an argument or some sort of rupture in the relationship, so they need to back away and like withhold. It doesn't make it okay, but I don't know if that one is always as conscious as some of these other ones. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're talking, where's somebody's level of emotional intelligence, and how aware are they of how they feel and what they project. And so, yeah, I can definitely see where that may be an unconscious deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
if you're aware that you're doing it, it's not good. Yeah. It is still manipulation. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Number 4 is lying and denial. This, I think I'm sighing because I've recently talked to somebody where they had a partner who would do this kind of stuff and then deny it. And they were, when I'm talking to them, they're almost kind of defending the person. I said, they lied to you. That's a lie. Well, and I'm like, that is a lie. They were deceptive in what they said to you. It wasn't, or withheld information and then acted like, I didn't lie to you. Well, you did, because you didn't tell me the full story, and you knew you weren't telling me the full story. So there's lies by omission as well. But then they were denying it to the person, and the person that I was talking to was buying the denial. And I'm like, this is crazy. They're lying to you. So lying and denial. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think that this is something as humans that we all just deal with all the time, and it's so hard. I know we're talking about emotional sense of manipulation, but at the bottom of every lie, I think is just shame. There's fear and shame. What is the other person going to think? Am I going to lose the connection? I mean, there's a million different reasons why we lie and why we deny things. And that is not the foundation to build a healthy relationship on. We know this. So Yeah. And I, again, I always out myself on these podcasts. I don't know why I do this, but I do. I was the person that withheld things because I was so afraid of my partner's reaction. So if you even notice yourself doing that, um, clearly that's a sign that something is off in the connection. When you are, tiptoeing around trepidatiously around sharing something with your partner and withholding it. Now, I would tell myself, well, if he asks me, I'll tell the truth. But if he doesn't ask, I'm just going to hold it in. And right, omission is still betrayal. It's still a lie. So, yeah.
Sure. I think that that introduces another relational issue, right? Because you were not sharing out of fear of the response or reaction.
Correct.
Again,
Yes.
that doesn't justify dishonesty,
No.
but in a relationship, I think some people can create a place where there's a lack of safety. And I'm not going to share because I know that, and I see this all the time. If you know you're going to get blasted for sharing something with somebody, you're almost motivated to take
To
your
not share.
chances, right? If I tell you
Right.
there's 100% chance you're going to rail me, if I
Yeah.
don't tell you I got 50-50, you might not find out. We might be okay.
Mhm.
That's speaking to another issue in the relationship. But I think there are people. So I think you're right with sometimes behind lying is shame, but I think also some people are manipulative. Since we're talking about emotional manipulation, they use lying as a control mechanism. I am lying specifically to keep you in the dark, to keep control of the relationship, to get what I want, to do what I want, not out of shame. I got no shame around it. I just want this and this. So I'm lying to you because I know you won't allow me to do this kind of thing over here. So I think we can see both sides, right?
Yes. People that have a conscience and people that don't as much. Yes.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. There's people like that. No, that's good. All right.
Yeah.
Here's the fifth one. This isn't. I'm gonna caveat this with this is not always um, somebody who is intentional, but
Mhm.
I think if this happens a lot, you do need to challenge them, and it's what I call universal statements. So the always and nevers. So when they want to address an issue with you, and they're using always and never as they do it. You always blah blah blah. You never care about me. You never think about me first. You never love me. You never, or you always da 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 da. I think sometimes some people, again, maybe kind of like emotional connection, may do it unconsciously because they're just more exaggerative. But I think I've seen a lot of people do it specifically to really put their thumb on somebody and put guilt on that person and control that person, to make you think you never fill in the blank. You always fill in the blank. And the reality is that's not true because we don't always or never do anything. There's even accidentally we'll get it right one time, right? So
Mhm.
it's always and never. What do you think about that?
I love that you brought this one up because this is such a sneaky one that slides in. And like you just said, we're kind of if you do this sometimes, but none of these other behaviors, okay. Like we're talking about emotional manipulation and we're really talking about these, and there's a big list of these because it's kind of like a cluster of behaviors, right? But this is something that if you do it, or someone that does it, I'm going to speak if you're doing it, that you can obliterate from your vocabulary, which I've had to do. I've had to try, and because sometimes I just generalize things, right? But it's so helpful to not make these universal statements, especially in dating and relationships, because it's completely untrue. There's nothing that we do always, and there's nothing that we, never do. Um, and yeah, so I love this one because it's a nuanced thing that you actually can shift so quickly by just taking that out of your vocabulary. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Number six. And this one makes me angry when I see it. So just if I
Mm-hmm.
get passionate about this one, playing on others' insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
So making the person feel like they're ugly, nobody else is ever going to want them, or their weight. Nobody else would be interested in this, or, you share vulnerability with somebody, and then they take your insecurities and they play you with them that's what marketing is, right? Marketing is, I feel bad about myself without your product. Basically, like, my skin sucks, I feel terrible about myself, your product will solve that, right? Or whatever it is. This makes me so angry, man, when I hear people poke at the thing they know is their partner's greatest insecurity as a way to control them.
Yeah. Yeah. This one makes my skin crawl and stomach drop because I have had very, very dear friends and clients go through this. And this one alone, dare I say, is sort of the one where I would, where I want to say run, just run. This is not, not the right relationship for you. I had the one and only panic attack of my whole life when this thing happened in one of my prior relationships. And I didn't even realize it was connected to anything, but I was wanting out of the relationship. And I remember he said, well, you're just a quitter. You quit everything. And I had no idea that I had all this stuff, even from my childhood, of like, mom, let me quit ballet. And then I quit gymnastics. And then I quit, softball. And I had all this shame around quitting stuff. And when he said that, and he knew that about me, it just, I mean, I know people exaggerate and say I had a panic attack. No, I had a real panic attack. And hopefully it's the last one of my life. But yeah, this one's a doozy and not okay at all.
Yeah. All right. Number 7 is when somebody continually moves the target. And so whatever criteria they have presented for acceptance or love or their affection, they keep shifting this criteria. And so you always feel like, dude, how do I'm trying to figure out how. Last week it was this, and then this week it's this, and it's like they always keep you in a defensive position because they keep moving the target.
Yeah. This is so good that we're putting words to this one, I think, because this one's hard to catch. It's hard to spot. Like when you feel like you just can't ever do anything right, this is what we're talking about. Like no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try to do the thing that they've suggested or asked you to do, and yet that still wasn't enough. And there's a new goalpost to be met. So again, I love that we're putting words to this one because it's another kind of sneaky one that if you don't have any awareness of what's going on, you'll miss it and just feel like nothing you ever do is good enough. But it's emotional manipulation. That's what's actually going on.
Yeah. All right. Number 8 is this where I'm guilty. I'm going to put it all in one bundle and call it passive aggressive stuff. So like guilt tripping, backhanded compliments. For me, it's frustrations clothed in sarcasm and jokes. So it's instead of me just being honest and sharing where I'm frustrated, I will turn it into like a joke and kind of take a shot, and that way. And really, it's my fear of hurting your feelings and you not liking me and that kind of stuff. And so I can always be like, "Well, it's just a joke." If you get real upset, but hopefully you hear it anyway. And so yeah, this big bundle of passive aggressive behaviors.
Yeah. Oh, I have no idea what you're talking about. I've never done that ever. Yeah. No idea what you're talking about. No, it's something again that I've had to work on too, because there's been a fear of speaking up, right, or hurting the other person's feelings, like you said. And I like to poke and prod a little bit and joke around with my partner. Like that's just part of my personality. But what we're talking about is it is a little different than just joking. It's when something is really bothering us, but we don't have the tools or at least the confidence to really share it openly and from our hearts. And that's something that, again, I have to practice and I've gotten a lot better at, but it's still a constant practice for sure.
Yeah, I run into a number of people that get in relationships with somebody who they say it kind of feels like they're always kind of trying to trap them. with,
Yeah.
would you rather go out with your friends or hang out with me? Kind of, it's this passive stuff. Oh, it sure looked like you and, your coworker were enjoying conversation at the company get together. And it's just like, just say what you want to say, right? Don't kind of give me this stuff to see what I'm going to say. And then you're trying to trap me and saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. So yeah, anything that falls under the passive aggressive bucket, we'll
Terrible
throw in
feeling.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 9, I think this word, it's gaslighting. So this word has become like everything else. Narcissism and gaslighting have become, everybody says it about everybody. And everybody I talk to thinks they're if the relationship's not good, they're convinced they're in a relationship with somebody
Narcissist.
who's gaslighting or narcissistic. And
Right.
I'm like, that's not always the case. But when somebody continually does things that make you doubt your experience, your understanding, make you start questioning whether the thing you felt or experienced happened. Yeah, that's gaslighting at some point, when they clearly are doing a number of things to try to make you feel like what you feel is not real.
Yep. I know. I feel like we're all experts on narcissism now. Everyone's a narcissist and everyone's. But this
Yeah.
is, yeah, and I'm also not minimizing anyone's experience that is really going through that. But for this one in particular, like you said, we really want to look at the consistency. If it is just a consistent experience of you never feeling seen, never feeling heard, always doubting yourself, feeling like everything is turned back around on you, there's a good chance that that's happening. And it doesn't even necessarily mean a person's a narcissist either. People can have narcissistic tendencies and not be diagnosed, which is most of the time and most of the
Sure.
case. But
And gaslighting is not, they disagree with you, right?
no,
That's why I say at some point we've gotten like, you can't even have the person in the relationship disagree, have a different opinion, challenge you, correct you, or it's like, oh, you're gaslighting me. No, they're challenging something they disagree with, and that's probably okay.
gaslighting isn't interrupting either or being in a heated discussion. But
Right.
I think, I mean, maybe we should give some examples of that at some time. I know at one point, I was even told, like that never happened. What are you talking about? Making truly me doubt my own reality. And that's some creepy stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Number 10, last one is real simple, real subtle. It's just minimizing. But if it happens on the regular, it's emotional manipulation. If they are always making light of or telling you why the thing that you are struggling with or experiencing is not a big deal and you shouldn't worry about it, that's a problem. If they are comfortable saying, oh, that's not that bad, so and so, fill in the blank, or what you've had, I've had worse, and there's always this tendency to try to talk you out of what you're struggling with and experiencing by minimizing it. That's a problem.
Yeah, like the one upper. Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here and just ask you, and I'll give my answer too if you want. What do you think would be a good way to almost interrupt that pattern? Like, let's say someone is experiencing this with a partner, not some of these bigger ones, let's say, but again, this is another kind of sneaky one that shows up subtly, or it can be bigger, of course. But what would be a way for the person on the receiving end who's being made to feel kind of more minimized? What could they even do in that moment to sort of interrupt that experience and that pattern potentially?
Yeah, I would recommend stopping them and sharing what they're experiencing right now,
Yeah.
and then asking the follow up as to why. Because I think some people genuinely feel bad when others feel bad. And
Yeah.
so their motivation could be a healthy motivation, which is, I don't like you being in a position of feeling bad. Now, it's still not the right approach,
Right.
but I would want to. So I might say something like, hey, hold on a sec. Here's what I'm experiencing right now. I shared it with you. And then your response was, tell them exactly what their response was. And that makes me feel like you're kind of making light of or minimizing what I'm sharing with you. Like, do you notice you do that? And why do you think you do that? Because I think that'll give you a real good clue as to whether if they receive that feedback real time and are like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not trying to do that, I don't like when you feel bad, and so I'm trying to cheer you up or help you feel better. Okay, let's work on that, but at least your heart's right, as opposed to the other person, if they in the moment are like, that's not what I'm doing, why do you take it that way? And
There we go.
if it's
Right.
turned back again, now that's a person who legitimately doesn't see value in your perspective or opinion, and so
Yeah.
they're just gonna do that. That would be my thoughts. I don't know, what are your thoughts on
Yeah.
that?
No, that's so good. I completely agree, and very similar to what I would suggest too. It's so hard to get curious about someone in the moment that you're feeling hurt. It's so hard to be like, why are you, what, not like,
Sure.
why are you doing this, but really like, hey, hold on a moment. When you said that, I just noticed I started to feel sad that my experience is almost feeling minimized in this moment. Can you tell me what that's about for you? The need to almost kind of diminish that a bit. Tell me what's really going on with you. It's hard, and it's a moment of potential connection if you're not dealing with someone who is truly emotionally manipulative. Yeah, so I totally agree. It's good.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we could probably do this for like another 42 examples of how people emotionally manipulate, but those are at least
Those are
10 that
good.
hopefully will give some people just some ideas on. And again, I think, outside of the one you said, which was like, come on, if this is here, just turn and run. I think,
Right.
as with most red flags, yellow flags, whatever you want to call them, if you see these things, address them. It's not, you see it, don't say anything and just slide out of the relationship. Give the person a chance to see, are they willing to receive feedback and make adjustments on behaviors that you feel like is emotionally manipulative? And if not, yeah, then that's probably time to move on down the road.
Yeah. Exit stage left. Yep.
Yep. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, hopefully that was helpful to you all. Again, if you have not grabbed the Modern Daters Playbook or Megan's text responses, you'll see some other resources in the description area in the show notes, and we will see you back here next time. Bye for now.